Welcome to Soul of the SKOL. We do have all five of us on today, even though in our group chat we thought for a while that wouldn't happen. Turns out we do. We've got SKOL Joel, we got Big Lou, Sam O, Sam Z, James Charles, and so we're coming off the Minnesota Vikings bye week, which was very, very late bye week for the Vikings. Not super great, but the bye week was great for some of us. Me and Matt had COVID over the weekend, and we both got it from my roommate who's sitting over there. So, yeah. With that said, the Minnesota Vikings are 6-6 heading into their Week 14 matchup against the, I believe, 5-7 Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders fired Josh McDaniels earlier in the year, and they have been overall playing better under him. They are also coming off their bye week as well. So with that said, we will start with we're just going to start with a couple thoughts previewing this game. So, I mean, in my opinion, this is a must-win game. If the Vikings don't win this game, I'm out on this team. I'm ready to move on. And I've seen what I've needed to see. I've seen good plays. I've seen bad plays. I've seen good coaching. I've also seen bad coaching recently, in my opinion. And I think this game is going to tell whether this team is ready to continue making a push this year for the wild card or whether I'm ready to hang it up and say, let's look at next year.
Yeah, I feel like if the Vikings lose this game, there's no point in trying in any of the rest of the games because we're either going to barely miss playoffs and we're going to be kind of that no man's land for a draft pick next year. And you're not going to make a playoff run. So it's kind of just like tank, get the highest pick you can, and move on to next year.
I'm the type of guy, until you're literally mathematically eliminated, you got to go 100% at this thing. And while this is a big game for the Vikings, it's a must win. I mean, the Raiders are still in the playoff picture as well. But the Vikings coming off a bye week, I like having a bye week later in the season, get all your guys healthy, especially when you're a team like the Vikings trying to make a playoff run. But yeah, this is essentially a must win game for the Vikings. They still have a pretty good chance at making the playoffs. You lose this game, that chance goes down quite a bit, but I'm the type of guy, until you're mathematically eliminated, you got to give it everything you got. And that's my thoughts initially on the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Sam here. I think, as long as you're able to make the playoffs, you're able, theoretically, to win the Super Bowl, right? Not saying that any playoff team will win the Super Bowl. I mean, we know the Dallas Cowboys are never going to win another one, but who's to say that, a wild card team can't win the Super Bowl? It's happened before. It could happen again. You know what I mean? So I think that the Vikings, this is definitely a critical game because they need to win this one. They need to win the next couple just so that they can stay in that playoff picture. And if they can stay in that playoff picture, then they always have that chance at that Super Bowl. Now, am I saying they're going to win the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. Am I saying that? Do I think that we have a chance to beat the Philadelphia Eagles or the San Francisco 49ers for the second time? Absolutely not. No, there's no chance. But I think that as long as we can keep that alive, it's going to be better overall for the team.
Cousins was playing against the Niners, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So the Niners are eliminated from winning the Super Bowl already, though, because of the Cousins curse.
Yeah, no, but they're going to. It's going to be the Niners and the Ravens because of the colors.
That'd be a cool.
The Ravens are going to win.
Match.
It's either going to be the Ravens and the Niners, or it's going to be the Vikings and the Chiefs. All right.
I forget the year, but you can't forget that Super Bowl because the lights went out.
Super Bowl 47. I believe.
Super Bowl
Is
47.
We Hoopin' still on TikTok? I don't have TikTok anymore.
We Hoopin'? Yeah, probably.
Imagine him if the Ravens win the Super Bowl. That would be a day I would live for. I'd love to see the Ravens win just so I can see We Hoop and go wild. That'd be pretty funny. So that said, we can transition into kind of the biggest point of this game, and that is that today the starting quarterback was announced from head coach Kevin O'Connell, and it's that the Vikings are going to be rolling with Josh Dobbs. On last week's podcast, I said I'd like to see Jaren Hall in there, and I'd like to see what they can do with him. But the more I think about it, if they want a chance to win, and if they want a chance to make the playoffs this year, I think Josh Dobbs gives them the best chance to do that. He's versatile. He's unique. We've seen a lot of bad, but we also have seen good too. So if any player I think is going to take them potentially into the playoffs and maybe a little farther into the playoffs, I think it's going to be Josh Dobbs just based on the tools he has and what he's done for this team in the past.
Yeah, I think Josh Dobbs does give us a chance to win still. I mean, I think, in that Bears game, I think if Nick Mullins comes in at halftime, it's the Vikings win that game. And I think Nick Mullins probably is the second best quarterback on this roster right now. So I'm fine with this decision to go Dobbs for Vegas, see how it plays out, but I'd give him a short leash. You start turning the ball over again, 2 drives, maybe 2 turnovers in the first half, you're out of there, and let's get Nick Mullins in the game or Jaron Hall or somebody like that. So I think Josh Dobbs is a fine choice, but on a short leash.
I agree with that. If he's not playing well, he's out of there.
I think that the Vikings offense hasn't utilized Dobbs how he should be utilized. We haven't run any option plays at all. We haven't run any designed quarterback runs outside of the one toss that he got that he fumbled, right? So outside of that, Dobbs is not a pocket passer. That's how our offense is designed. Mullins is a pocket passer, obviously. Now, he's not as good of a player overall as Dobbs, in my opinion, but he gives the Vikings, he fits into the Vikings scheme a lot better. So I think either the scheme is going to have to start changing a little bit to be able to have Dobbs run the ball on a designed run more, or the protection schemes are going to need to change so that he can kind of sit in the pocket and throw it and not have to scramble all over the place and get sacked. Either that or he's just not going to succeed anymore. That, in my opinion, is the primary reason he's not succeeding, is because he doesn't fit into the scheme. The scheme needs to change and adapt to the quarterback, in my opinion, because he's a runner, and just for scheme's sake, I'll compare him to Lamar Jackson. He's no Lamar Jackson, obviously, but he's got similar talents to Lamar Jackson, right? And you see how the Ravens have utilized Lamar Jackson. I mean, I think his rookie or his sophomore year or whatever, he had like 1,000 rushing yards. Am I right? He had 1,000-yard season for rushing, and I think that was his MVP season. So if you can utilize Josh Dobbs as a runner, I think that's a good move for the Vikings. Otherwise, Mullins is going to have more success.
Yeah, you roll with Dobbs, you got to build a game plan around him. I saw this analogy earlier. I mean, they're trying to basically run the offense through Josh Dobbs how they did Kirk Cousins, and obviously Dobbs is not nearly as accurate. They have completely different tools, and he needs to be outside the pocket more often. You need to throw read option, speed option, power option, whatever, just to get him on the move a little bit and throw that wrinkle at defenses. I mean, it's a whole other thing to deal with if your quarterback can run too. We've seen that. The Vikings have struggled with that. Other teams have struggled with that. A lot of teams in college struggle with that. And, Nick Mullins is basically a watered down version of Kirk Cousins. That's why he was brought in as the backup. And I agree with Sam on everything he said there.
I think this is going to be a really interesting test over the next, we've been seeing it, but it's going to continue to be an interesting test on the coaching of Kevin O'Connell, because we've seen Kevin O'Connell. He's a really good guy at bringing in the locker room and making everyone feel included and making it strong. But in reality, we know Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback's guy. He was a quarterback in the NFL. He was a quarterback's coach. That's his background. So I think if he fails, some of this can be on Josh Dobbs too for just not being a good playmaker, but if Josh Dobbs fails here in the coming weeks, I think a lot of that does fall on him too, in that he failed the game plan, he failed the schemes, because this is kind of what Kevin O'Connell's specialty is. And this is kind of an early tell at the future of the franchise, because obviously he came in because Kirk Cousins is here and he's familiar with Kirk Cousins, but in reality, Kevin O'Connell's kind of here to find a future quarterback for this team. That's some of what he's here to do, is to develop someone. And if he can't develop a game plan around a different style of quarterback, then to me, that seems like a bit of a problem potentially here on his coaching. So with that said, we can just look at a couple different things here. The Minnesota Vikings in yards per game this season have had 350.7 yards per game. The Raiders they are towards the bottom of the NFL, 4th lowest in the NFL at 284 yards per game. They don't have a stellar offense. They're led by Aiden O'Connell, the former Purdue quarterback, He was, I believe, a 5th-round pick, if I remember correctly, 5th or 6th. And, I mean, he's been playing okay this season, but he's not stellar. But this Vikings defense should be able to do a good job containing the Raiders' offense in theory. But we'll just have to see how the blitzes and everything go against this rookie quarterback.
What's like the defensive yards or yards allowed per game for the two teams? Do you have that stat?
I sure do. So the Minnesota Vikings have allowed 320.3 yards per game, which is in the top third, we'll say, of the NFL. The Raiders have allowed 343.8, so a little bit more. They're right at like the bottom 2/3 mark. So Vikings have been an okay yardage defense, but points defense is really where they've been shining. The Minnesota Vikings are 8th. They've given up the 8th fewest points out of every team this season, with giving up 20.2 points per game. And as far as the Raiders are concerned, they are right at about the middle at 21.3. So overall, in theory, the Vikings are a better team on paper than the Raiders are in pretty much every way, shape, and form. But I mean, it always makes me, maybe this isn't the same for everyone, but to me, when a team fires their head coach, they immediately become better, because to me, it shakes up the organization, it shakes up the team, and suddenly there's a little bit of a fire under them. And we've seen a little bit out of that with the Raiders. They've been a better team since Josh McDaniels got the boot. So no matter what, this game is not a given in any way, shape, or form, especially not after watching the Bears game. Even with Justin Jefferson in, this game still, to me, is not a given at all. And you'll see that later. And I hate to spoil that for you, but you will. Because I'm an avid hater.
I'm expecting kind of a low-scoring defensive battle here. And, one of my predictions is going to show kind of the game I expect. But, it's going to be a defensive battle. I mean, it's going to be a game of probably some turnovers. And, a defensive score could easily win this game. So, getting pressure on a rookie quarterback like that, who is a game manager. He's been that ever since he was at Purdue. I've watched a lot of Aiden O'Connell. He's a good quarterback, but he's a game manager. I mean, and he can be flustered easily.
We should be clear that our boy Sam here is a Michigan fan, so he watches Big Ten football for volunteer purposes and not because he's forced to. We just want to make that clear. Big Ten football is not appealing.
I find the Big Ten West. I find the Big Ten West to be one of the best spectacles in sports, because it doesn't seem like any team ever wants to win it.
Because everyone's
bad. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Because look who's. Sorry.
What? Go ahead.
I was going to say, look who's in the East. You got Penn State, who's Ohio State and Michigan's kicking bag, and then obviously Michigan, Ohio State. And they're getting rid of the divisions next year, so it'll be very.
So this was the last year of the Big Ten West.
I think I saw something on Twitter that said the Big Ten West in the championship has never beat the Big Ten East. Is that?
Last time they did that was Wisconsin in like 2011. But other than that, so since then.
Exactly.
You got those Michigan teams, those good Ohio State teams, and you're putting them up against Punch City in Iowa.
Yeah, exactly.
Northwestern one year. The Gophers had a shot one year.
Mm-hmm. But there have been, a lot of those teams have gone to the Big Ten championship. None of them. Northwestern hung with Ohio State a few years ago, but Ohio State ended up winning it. But
so
I think we should talk about the fact that Justin Jefferson is indeed back. Which will be huge for the Vikings, I believe, is just opening up the pressure, opening up a third receiver to throw to, not only Jordan Addison and T.J. Hawkinson. You have that elite receiver back out there that takes some of the pressure and double teamings off T.J. Hawkinson and Jordan Addison as well.
It's been so long since Justin Jefferson's played that I don't even remember watching him on a football field anymore. I don't remember watching him in games. It feels foreign.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they.
I think that's part of the reason Dobbs started, honestly. Or they're starting Dobbs this week just to see how he fares with Jefferson. I mean, he could be a completely different quarterback with a guy like Jefferson to throw to. Not saying he will, but there's definitely potential for that. I mean, who knows?
I think with the return of Jefferson, we're actually going to see more production, not out of Jefferson, but out of Hawkinson. I think that now that they're going to have to play deeper coverage because Jefferson's such a deep threat. I think Hawkinson is actually going to start getting more receptions, more yards, more touchdowns because he's going to be in single coverage with linebackers and safeties, right? And so, I like to compare him to like Travis Kelce, I guess, because they're the two best in the game. Hawkinson, he's going to burn every linebacker he goes against. I don't care who the linebacker is, he's going to burn the linebackers. Safeties, it's completely different because he's so big and strong that he's just going to outmuscle them. They're not going to be able to make a good play on the ball with him, with guarding him because he's a monster of a man, right? So I think that Hawkinson's going to see a lot more receptions this week than he has previously. I know he had a good amount these last couple weeks, but I think he's going to keep seeing that production increase because of the return of Jefferson. And I think Jefferson being able to take the top off that defense is also going to help out Jordan Addison. I think it's just a really good thing for our entire team. However, I don't think that Jefferson's production is going to be what a lot of people expect. I think he's going to be probably in the 60s to 70s in yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe, four receptions, if that. So Josh Dobbs just doesn't have the deep placement to be able to give him the yards that he was getting with Kirk Cousins. So I think it's going to be a completely different game.
Yeah, I kind of hope Jefferson puts up the Thanksgiving Randy Moss numbers, though. But
sorry, Big Lou, you can finish.
No, I'm done.
All right, I was just going to say, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm just kind of intrigued by the fact that they're playing Josh Dobbs with Justin Jefferson. Because obviously the whole career of Justin, we've been seeing Kirk Cousins. And like Sam O said earlier, Nick Mullins is really just the watered down version of him. So I'm a little surprised, now that I think about it, that they're not starting Nick Mullins. Because, again, he's not the most accurate guy in the world like Kirk Cousins is. But he seems the most Kirk Cousins-esque. So it's interesting they're trying something new because we're about to see a version of the Vikings we've never seen before, which is a mobile quarterback and Justin Jefferson on the field at the same time. So
yes, but you also have Justin Jefferson who can make the plays as a receiver in order to get the balls too as well. Even if they're not like greatly thrown balls, he can still make the catches.
And it's going to be an adjustment for Jefferson too. I mean, you don't really have scramble drill with Kirk, but with Dobbs, there is going to be some of that scramble drill. He rolls out to the right, while all of a sudden everyone has to move to the right to get open. So, it's going to be fun to kind of see what Jefferson can do to kind of hopefully split some safeties or something during scramble drill. That's something I'm really intrigued to watch and see how he does with. Now, obviously, he did do a lot of that at LSU because he played with Joe Burrow, but, it's a different game in the NFL, obviously, and we haven't really seen him do any of that since then, so it'll be interesting.
Unless anyone else has anything, I think we kind of covered this game pretty well for the most part. I mean, they're fairly not I won't even say fairly equal. The Vikings are a better team, but with the way we've seen the Vikings and the Raiders too, anything's possible. So it'll be a really interesting game, and a lot's on the line this Sunday. So we'll just have to see. But with that said, I think we can get into our other stuff that we have. So here it is. This is our predictions, folks. There's me, and all of us will go through what's come off the board, look at our standings, and reveal the new ones. I said Vikings and Bengals will be played on a Saturday. It is part of a Saturday triple header next weekend, so we'll see that. Sam Z said Justin Jefferson's contract would be resolved before he's off IR. I'm sorry, but that's a terrible prediction. It is. James Charles said Iowa would punt the ball at least 7 times in the Big Ten championship versus Michigan.
He almost got that in the first half.
They had 6.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 5.
Oh,
they had 5.
No, it was 6 because they punted at the end of the first half too.
Oh.
Like right as you texted the group chat, they were punting, and it was 6. I think I counted at half.
They punted exactly 7 times. So, right.
Oh, really? Well, the second half they went for it a bunch on 4th down because they were down 26-0.
Yeah, they had to.
So, but that's how Big Ten football is.
I believe that is James Charles' first correct prediction. If I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't think so. He's
Oh,
had
it's not?
that's the
I've had a
second,
couple, but
or no, he's had a few now.
Oh, yeah, it's L.
He was
Okay.
1-for-1 for the longest time, so it was just 100%. I don't even remember
Yeah,
what his
Kirk-
first prediction was, but it was
Kirk
right.
Cousins didn't get hurt. I would have been a 7. Just saying.
So yeah, but this is pretty much how Big Ten football goes for any non-Big Ten fans. Lots of punting and running the ball and Mo Ibrahim touchdowns back when he played for the Gophers.
Very
Wasn't a
true.
complete game without a Mo Ibrahim touchdown at least once. So he also said Jalen Hurts would have 2 tush-push touchdowns. I believe he had 1.
He had 1.
Okay, I wasn't watching the game, but I saw a 1-yard touchdown run, so I could pretty safely assume it was a tush-push.
Okay. Have you guys heard Roger Goodell's push to get the tush push banned?
I think that's stupid.
I think it's dumb.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's like telling the Miami Dolphins and Tyreek Hill you can't run vertical routes.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think they should be able to play the game however they want to play it. And I mean,
Exactly. If you're good
you
at
know,
something, why not?
if the players don't want to do it, they're going to tell the coach, hey, I don't like this. I'm going to get hurt doing this. But obviously no one said anything yet. And, you know, all the offensive linemen have stayed the same. So they're just going to keep running it.
Okay, I could be wrong, but I think Jason Kelsey said something relating to that one time.
What?
Or maybe he
said
was just
that
challenging
it's hard
Goodell.
on
No,
his
Jason
knees,
Kelsey
I
loves
think.
Has anyone been hurt on the tush push?
There have been a
Offensively?
couple players that have gotten hurt during the play, but you also have to look at every play in the NFL. There's a
Yeah.
chance someone's going to get hurt.
Sam O said the CFP would consist of these 4: Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, Texas. It was Alabama, Michigan.
Washington, Texas.
Washington.
Yeah, that's what it was.
To be fair, I thought Georgia was going to win a super close game against Alabama, and I thought Oregon was going to beat Washington. But that
Georgia had it locked in until Alabama came and beat them.
exactly.
Then suddenly it was no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he also said Jaron Hall would be the starter this week, and barring a catastrophic injury between now and Sunday will be Josh Dobbs.
Mm-hmm.
So here's our standings. Sam Z is still in the lead, but just barely. I'm catching up to him. Then we
Close.
got Big Lou and Sam O are tied, and James is having a tough time, even though he did get the
Hey,
one
I'm
round.
2 away from Big Lou. Relax.
I guess.
Yeah, but look how many more predictions I have out there.
Yeah, I got a couple that are ready to come off this week. I'm looking at that Lewis Scene one. Hopefully that one comes off the board with a green.
Yeah. We'll see about that.
I
If he's a healthy scratch, I'm going to laugh at you.
I will laugh too. That won't mean he's a bust, but I will laugh.
No, he's a bust.
think about over half of my picks will come off at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Well over half.
As soon as week 18 concludes, literally like everything on this board is going to be off.
Mhm.
So many. All right. With that said, we can go. We're going to go inverse order this time. Should we do all 3 at once?
Yeah, just do
Sure.
all 3 at once.
All right. We're going to go inverse order. We're going to start right to left, unlike normal when we do left to right. So, Sam O, you want me to do this?
Yeah.
You want me to go one at a time?
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. First prediction is that there will be 4+ turnovers in the Vikings-Raiders game. So both these teams are starting backup quarterbacks. Both the Vikings are solid on defense. Josh Dobbs has been a turnover machine recently. So I think 4+ turnovers is pretty much, well, I won't say it's a given, but it's pretty likely. So that's my prediction. Next one. The Eagles will lose to the Cowboys by 8+ points. I expect
love
the
that.
Eagles. It's a rivalry game. These two teams hate each other. And, we saw the Eagles not play very well last week. I, for one, saw that coming. The 49ers are a phenomenal team. I've been saying that. But I think the Eagles are going to continue a little skid. Not to say they're still not a great team. They are. But I think they're going to skid a little bit and maybe eventually lose that 1 seed. But we'll see.
Made me very happy to see the Eagles get blown out by
Me
the
too.
Niners. I'm just saying. I'm sure it probably did for all you guys too.
And Army will win this year's game of the Army-Navy game. Go Army, beat Navy. This is one of my favorite college football games of the year, and I always cheer for Army. I respect Army a lot, and I think they'll win this game, probably like 13-10 or something. But
Is there some sort of connection you have to Army, or why do you like Army?
Because they almost came into the Big House and beat Michigan a few years ago, so I've cheered for them in that game ever since.
Do you root for Appalachian State after they came into the Big House and beat you guys?
I was 3.
But you probably cried over that game.
But I was 3. I don't even
You
remember
got
watching.
other
I
things.
don't remember watching
Cry,
football
right?
until I was like 7.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think Navy's
disagree.
triple option is going to take that one, but you know what?
I disagree with
you.
you. Go Navy, beat Army.
Go away, Army beat Navy.
You gonna change one of your predictions there, James?
No. No.
Hey guys, I hate to cut you off, but I got to go in like 5 minutes. So if we could speed this up just a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah, let's go to
Dobbs left
Sam's
3
predictions.
touchdowns versus Vegas. Jordan Love will throw an interception versus the Giants. Tyreek Hill will have over 157 receiving yards.
Is that what he averages per game or something?
I don't know. I just thought of a funny number.
Okay, we'll go over to Sam Z and let him do his. Then we can keep going.
Yeah, why don't we let Sam do game picks,
Okay.
and we can finish this when Sam leaves.
All right. So my 3 predictions are that Jefferson's going to have a touchdown in his first game back. Aiden O'Connell's going to have less than 175 passing yards versus the Vikings, and Josh Jacobs will rush for 130 plus yards or 2 touchdowns versus the Vikings.
Oh,
175 is not a lot.
Lord.
You're saying. So that's a bold statement.
What'd you say?
I'm saying 175 is not a lot, so that's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, but O'Connell's averaging just under 200 a game. So I thought it was a decently safe one.
Okay, then
but
yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Matt was getting mad at me for doing too many checkdowns, so I think that's a little bit more bold, isn't it?
I
When
would
you
say
say
it's
he'll-
bold. I like
more
that you
bold
put the
than saying
130
Jefferson's gonna
plus
play
or
this week.
2 rush touchdowns.
It would have been more
2
bold
rush
if you did
yards,
and,
but 2
not or.
touchdowns.
Oh, I think it's a fair prediction.
Yeah.
Okay, when you say Justin will have a touchdown in his first game back, are you saying he'll have at least one or exactly one?
Hold on. There.
Oh,
Oh,
I was hoping we could find the loophole and beat you with that one.
I mean, that's kind of like my prediction, but not the same.
Fine. You know what? Yeah, I will say it's exactly 1. Screw you guys.
Well, I
Peer
got a
pressure.
prediction.
There.
Justin Jefferson will have 120 yards and at least 120 yards and a touchdown his first game back.
I like bigger
There.
with that.
Justin Jefferson will have exactly 1 touchdown in his first game back.
All right.
I
Better?
just thought right now, Justin Jefferson was a full participant for the first time since October 6th.
Oh my god. It's been a full 2 months.
Should we do
Oh.
game picks or just keep rolling through this?
Game picks. real
If we
quick.
could do game picks, that would be great.
All right, let's roll in game
Pop
picks.
off.
I'll go one at a time, but I'll make it quick. Everyone went Pittsburgh on Thursday night. It's a pretty sad game. Everyone went New Orleans. Don't tell me everyone did the same for everything. Everyone went Houston.
Let's go.
Oh, no. Sam went Jets.
Oh, I didn't see that. You're going Zach
And
Wilson.
Sam went
Wilson's
Indy.
gonna have some fire under him and have a legacy game.
You got fire in your
Or is
gut?
it
I
just
need to
because
catch up.
Tank Dell is out?
And I need to catch up in game picks. So.
All right.
And I picked the Colts because I don't think Jake Browning is going to repeat his Monday Night Football performance.
He's a former Viking quarterback, therefore he's better now that he's not on the team anymore.
Obviously.
All right. 3 went Jacksonville, 1 went Cleveland. I don't know. Trevor Lawrence probably isn't playing this week. I would
Trevor
pretty
Lawrence isn't going to play.
assume.
He's questionable right now.
I don't think CJ Beathard is going to outduel Dorian Thompson Robinson. But
CJ Beathard's been around for like 20 years, I feel like now. As
CJ
a backup.
Beathard is the one quarterback in the NFL that is from Iowa.
And soon to be Cade McNamara.
And soon to be, I don't know. He might return, honestly.
He's
Everyone-
going to, but in the future.
The Vikings did have a quarterback from Iowa on their practice squad a few years ago.
Nate Stanley, I remember
Nate
that.
Stanley, who is from Menominee.
Stanley.
He went
Oh,
to
nice.
Menominee High School.
Everyone goes Baltimore. We've got a split here
Mm-hmm.
between people. I went with Tampa just because. Felt like being different.
You had to be different than me, Joel, because last week we were all the same.
Good point. Everyone goes Detroit. Oh, by the way, I looked. Matt has beaten Sam Z in game picks twice, weeks 7 and 8, or 8 and 9, something like that. I looked earlier, so I was wrong when I said it last week that he never had, because he has. But they tied this week, so he's still James.
We've tied the last 4 weeks, so
Everyone goes San Fran. Everyone goes Denver except Big Lou here.
Yep.
Everyone goes KC except James. He's going with the Bills. I like it. I like him switching it up here.
unknown celebrity will be there, causing them to lose. Boom.
Will she be?
Which unknown celebrity?
I couldn't tell you. That's why I said unknown.
Is there verification that she's going to be there? Or do we not know yet?
I mean,
don't know.
They lost
Who
when she
cares?
was there with the Packers, so
Okay. I'm
That
skipping the
was because
Vikings
Simone
game for now.
Miles was there, and that's why.
Nice. I'm going to skip the Vikings game till the end to make you guys mad.
Okay.
All right, we got 3 going Philly, 2 going Dallas. I thought more were going to go Cowboys with me other than me and Sam O, but I guess not.
Dallas is frauds.
agree.
Yeah, so it's Philly.
They're always frauds. Yeah, Philly's frauds, but the
Yeah,
Philly
Dallas
frauds
are
gonna beat
fraudier
Dallas
than the
frauds.
Eagles.
Dallas are fraudier,
I didn't know what else word to use.
more fraudulent.
They could both be. They could still be frauds. That doesn't mean they're gonna lose the game. It's a division game. Anything can happen. We saw that with the Vikings.
All right, we got Monday night doubleheader. Everyone goes Miami, and I bet everyone. Yep, no one went with Tommy DeVito and the Giants. Last but not least, did anyone not take the Vikings? Yep,
Joel
I
did.
did. And Sam O did. We can be haters together. We're haters together.
I think Josh Dobbs gets benched after the third quarter.
I don't trust this Vikings team.
Yeah, he'll be
until they win again
benched
another
after he
game.
throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. So he'll sit out.
And
the
we're up
whole
what? We're up
quarter.
72-12.
Yeah.
Actually, no, 73 because we got to beat the Miami.
All right, fellas. I'm gonna take off, but
All
I'll
right.
see you guys. I'll see you guys next week then.
Cool. We'll see you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Finally.
I'm not gonna pick this Vikings team until I see them win a game again. I need to see it. I don't have faith in them anymore.
All right, Joel, we're gonna go over last week's game picks.
Oh,
while we were
yeah.
there, but-
Yeah, all right. So these are the game picks. Sam Z and James
Oh, my-
tied. Me and Big Lou had the exact same picks. And Sam O had a fair amount of red too, but he's also just trying to be different, so don't hate on him, guys.
Me, Sam
He's trying to
Z.
play catch up, but he's kind of falling
It's
behind.
digging him farther in the hole, but I respect
We
the
all-
idea because that needs to happen.
Besides you, Joel, and Big Lou, we all had 6 wrong.
Okay.
We're catching up to Sam.
So, yep, Sam Z had a huge lead at one point. I'm only 4 games behind him now.
He was up
Yeah,
by
he's
9
balling.
games at one point in time.
Big Lou is 1 behind me. Me and him were tied for like 5 weeks in a row, I felt like.
Yeah.
And then we got James here and Sam O. Your predictions, because your sample size is so much smaller than everyone else here, you went down by like 9% this week.
Yeah, I went down a lot too.
You went down a lot. Everyone else went down a little bit, but he went down a lot. And yeah, James went down a fair amount too. He was at like 62. And so, yeah. So, yeah, those were ours last week, like we just said. And those are ours this week. We'll see how they shake out. Sad that teams still have the bye and it's week 14. Like, come on.
Is this the last
But-
week of buys?
Yeah. I believe so.
But look
Yeah.
who's on bye, though. I don't want to watch the Commanders or the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That's actually a great point. Throw them on Thursday Night Football because no one watches Thursday Night Football anyway. At least I don't.
Well,
I've
when
watched
they're,
Really don't either.
when they're usually atrocious games, it's kind of hard to.
I've watched like 2 Thursday Night Football games all year, and I haven't even watched the whole game. I've watched like parts of like 2 of them, and that's it.
I watched the Vikings one. I watched week 1 and 2 actually, and then I haven't really watched since.
I watched some of last week's. That was the Seattle one. That was actually kind
That
of
was a good game, actually. I didn't
So that one I
watch
did
it,
watch
but it was
some
a
of.
good game.
Let's see if there's any good teams on. See, not that great of a game. not that great of a game. Also not that great of a game. All right, well, we're not going to have any good Thursday night games the rest of the year, more than likely. So people better soak up that last week one. All right. 2 predictions. We head back. Big Lou, what does he say?
All right, will you uncover mine for me, please?
I would
We can go
love
one
to.
at a time.
Of course.
The Vikings defense will force, I'm going to change to at least 2 turnovers.
All right, I got you.
So, kind of goes with Sam's prediction of 4+ turnovers in the game, but I think the Vikings defense can get it done.
All
My
right.
next one is 3 NFC North teams will be in the playoffs this year.
Wow.
I mean, as of right now, we have 3 in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit are all in the picture at the
Okay,
current
Minnesota's a 6th seed, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Green Bay's the 7th.
Yeah.
All right, and for my last one, the Vikings will have at least 300 yards of passing and 100 yards of rushing.
Nice.
I like how bold that is, Big Lou. I don't think it'll happen, but I do appreciate the long ball
I
there.
have a feeling it will happen, James. So
I'm glad you think that.
I really
But
love how
Debbie
sorry.
Downer.
I'm not really a Debbie Downer. It's just you don't see that. I guess I don't really look at team stats, but I feel like that doesn't really happen a lot.
No.
I really love how when the schedule came out and we looked at the week 17 game, which is Packers and Vikings in Minnesota on a Sunday night, everyone was like, wow, that's going to be a bad game because the Packers are going to be long gone by then. But now it's actually like a decent game. There's
Now it's
playoff
turning into
implications
a
on the
good
line.
game.
It will be a good game, potentially. I won't be watching that game, but it'll be a good one. It's on New Year's Eve night, and I have to work a hockey game here that night, so I won't be watching.
Yeah, at least you get to watch St. Cloud hockey.
That's true. I get to make money at the same time, too.
True. Who do
So.
they play?
They play Bemidji.
Ooh, that'll be good.
We should beat them.
Yeah, they should.
What's the St. Cloud State hockey's record?
We're 17th in the country. I can tell you that.
No, they moved up. They're like 15th now, I think, according on the latest poll, which came out
They're
Monday.
around Michigan right now. I know that.
Michigan's like 14, and then St. Cloud's like 15.
I think they split their series too.
We did.
They
They
did.
did split. I was there at the Saturday game.
Saturday's game almost made me like cry last week because it was amazing.
Like the best St. Cloud State game we've had in years
I know.
in terms of
Is-
atmosphere wise.
Do you get season tickets for being there, or do you get free entry for being a
You have
student?
to pay like $5, but
Oh.
Joel's mom clutched up and got tickets.
Yeah. So for anybody unfamiliar with Saturday's St. Cloud State game, they were down 3-0, and then they came back and they scored the game-tying goal with 9 seconds left. And I actually showed emotion over a hockey game, and it's rare I do that. And then they won in a shootout, and it was the best hockey game I've ever seen outside of the Stars and Wild game 1 last year.
Oh my gosh! One in
That
the
was quite
morning.
Yeah. I remember that ending.
I was
Everyone
so
else
next day.
everyone else was in bed, and I really wanted to just yell that they won the game, but I couldn't.
I couldn't either. I was in
I
my
just-
basement. I would have woken the whole house up.
I silently took off my shirt and just waved it in the air.
I
That's
don't
actually
need to
pretty sure what I
I
did.
don't need to visualize that.
Yeah,
I
you
could've
guys don't need
won
to. I'm
without
just saying that's what
noticing
happened. It was 1 a.m. and we had school the next day, and it was on like a.
It was on a Monday.
I was gonna say, I think it was a Monday.
It was a Monday. I remember I took like a power nap between the first overtime and the second overtime because I was.
I remember after the first overtime ended, I looked at the clock and it was like 12:30, and I said, if no one scores by 1, I'm done. I'll just look tomorrow. And then they scored right at 1 a.m. and I was like, yes. I would have gone to bed so sad if I would have stayed up all that long just for them to lose.
Yeah.
But they didn't, so that was quite the game. Well, whatever. Back to this. You guys aren't going to like me for some of these predictions I do today, but whatever. I said, well, this one isn't bad. I said the Vikings will attempt at least one more fake punt this season. They've done, I don't know, maybe
2.
couple letter. Yeah, I was going to say 2.
They did those 2 direct snaps to Ty Chandler, I believe.
I feel like they'll cook up at least one more.
Yeah.
We saw a couple
A
last year.
Ryan Wright pass.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we'll get a Ryan
He
Wright.
threw a dime last year.
in London.
I do remember that.
He probably played quarterback in like high school or something.
I think he did.
That makes sense. because it was pretty good actually. So I feel like they'll do it at least once more this season. I also said the Vikings will not make the playoffs. Yes, I did. I think I also said the Vikings would finish under 500. That was last week, I think.
It's still a possibility. Yeah.
Now I said they will not make the playoffs. I don't feel the faith in this team anymore. They lost me. And then I also said somebody will have a week of game picks with one wrong, but never zero. So we haven't had that yet. The least we've had is 2 wrong, but we will have a week where someone gets 1 game wrong, but we will never have a week where someone gets 0.
So we now have 3 predictions relating to game picks. Big Lou thinking someone's going to go all green. You think someone's going to have 1 red, and then you think I'll never beat Sam.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, there is playoffs though.
Playoffs isn't.
I don't think playoffs.
I mean, yeah, it's cool to get all green.
Playoffs should count for those predictions. I think it should be regular season.
There. Someone will have a regular season week.
Oh, wow, the Super Bowl. I got the whole week right. Yay.
Exactly.
Because there's 1 game.
No, Joel, you want to edit mine to that too?
Yeah. Like, I won't even change it. We know what it means. Yeah. I want to ding you for it anyway. Or I would have counted it. Unless there's any prediction that says playoffs, I always just assume it means end of regular season. So, yeah. All right, well, that does it for this. Again, here's our stuff over here. Like we pointed out earlier, that's what's come off the board, and that's what we just added. So with that said, here we all are again. Unless anyone else has any last thoughts, I don't think I really do. I sound kind of still from the COVID.
You sound like you're coming off of having COVID.
I can tell. The more I talk, I can kind of feel it. So
yeah.
Don't get COVID, guys. It's not fun.
And
Friday
don't have a roommate. Don't have roommates.
Yeah. That's what I live alone, and it won't be a problem.
Well, Sam's moving out after this, and they might make me consolidate with other people, but let's hope not.
Do you like conversating with other people, Big Lou?
I do.
Do other people like conversating with you?
Probably not. Joel, you're forced to with me. You can't escape me.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there's always a way to escape someone, if you know what I mean.
On that note, thanks guys for watching Soul the Shout out to our sponsors at Sprite Cranberry for making this possible. I'm James Charles, and along with my hosts of SKOL Joel, Big Lou, and Sam O, good night, and as always, SKOL Vikings.